Welcome back to the channel. 24 hours away from the most talented rivalry in college football history. Yes, I said it right, the most talented. I don't feel like going back and forth bickering with any other fan base in reference to, oh, well, we have the best and this one is this and this one is that. I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. This is the most talented. NFL draft says so. The amount of Hall of Famers that have come from these two particular schools say so. So this is the most talented rivalry. Now, obviously, it has lost its luster over the years. I even joked on 247 to say, look, this is wild because we have the old most talented rivalry, Miami versus Florida State, going head-to-head with the new most talented rivalry, the Crimson Tide and LSU Tigers. Both games kick off at the same time. Wonder which one will have the most viewership. But wouldn't that be crazy, though, if by some stretch of the imagination, Miami and Florida State has more eyes on it than Alabama and LSU? Wouldn't that be amazing? But who knows? But anyway, I'm not going to say this is a must-win game because this is year one. Obviously, a lot of us came in with very, very lofty expectations. Some 12-0, some 11-1, 10-2. 9-3, 8-4. But I do think that winning this game does go a long way in the bigger picture to end out this particular year. Now, I said on another video, I wasn't quite ready to say that a struggle victory over Virginia was a sign that we could actually be moving in a direction similar to the way we ended last year, in which we ended last year kind of on a hot streak, right? But I will say this. I feel like there are four things that a win Saturday does for us throughout the rest of the year. Now, if you think there are more, you're more than welcome to leave some in the comment section, but these are just four that I have on my mind. For one, we took back leadership. We never relinquished it, but we took back over our dominance in the rivalry in 2017. Probably the second best play behind the lateral plays in just recent memory, right? Malik Rozier to Darrell Langham. Mark Richt after the game saying that's not the guy that was open. But, hey, it doesn't matter. Sometimes the things that are not planned are the things that work. And in a situation like that, even though Darrell Langham may have not been the guy that was open or the primary receiver on the play, Darrell Langham will be forever remembered in Hurricane lore for catching the pass that finally got us back over the hump, right? So, get the rivalry back going. I mean, getting it back in our favor, right? So, last year, obviously, we lost 4th and 14, which is what everyone remembers. But if we remember a little bit more, it was also the fact that Manny Diaz wanted to die on his sword, and his sword was the defense. The sword was rusty. The sword would not cut through hot butter. But yet and still, Manny Diaz wanted to put a goal line stand out there on the field instead of allowing our red-hot offense time to grow back down the field, score, have Tyler Van Dyke have a moment to beat Florida State. Because we're looking at 3 years, well, 4 years, because it was 17, we had one quarterback. Perry won in 18, Jaren won in 19, Derek King won in 20. So we could have been 5 for 5, beating Florida State with 5 different starting quarterbacks. Man, Diaz didn't do that. So that's one. That's one reason. Get it back. Let's get some order back going here, right? Number 2, big recruiting weekend. I don't look at the list because, again, like I said, I don't follow recruiting. But from everything I hear, it's going to be a packed house amongst, obviously, the fans. But also it's going to be some guys that are going to seemingly be making decisions between going to Florida State or going to Miami, some guys that are on the fence. Now, I don't know who we are in head-to-head competition with as far as recruits. In reference to Florida State, I do know one, which was Hakeem Williams, who ended up pledging, keyword pledging, to attend the University of Florida State. So I don't really know who all is left. But Cormani McClain is coming down. Obviously, our big recruit, obviously one of the highest rated recruits that we've signed in recent memory, probably in history, right? So it makes his job a lot easier to get some guys who are on the fence, who are a little bit hesitant, to go ahead and say, look, you see what we did? We won today. Now, obviously, he's locked in either way, but you are making his job a little bit harder, because as much as people put emphasis on the coaching, recruiting players recruit players as well. Because one of the adages that we've always heard is that good players want to play with other good players. So this is the perfect pitch. We beat Florida State because some guys may be leaning towards Florida State. They are looking pretty decent. A recruit could realistically say over a span of 3 years, the team has gotten better. Guys have somewhat developed. So let's see what this combination looks like to finish the season out. And a big win over a Miami University team, regardless of how down on our luck we are, it could swing the pendulum a little bit. So, I mean, I know Mario's a monster recruiter as well as his staff, and we got to give some respect to DVD. But you can't continue to build a mountain up higher. You know how they say making a mountain out of a molehill? We start off as a molehill, and we're continuing to add and add and add, and we're getting a mountain. Obviously, we got Cormani McClain. You know, some other guys are whispering about maybe potentially pulling the trigger. No pun intended. But a win makes that much easier, right? Also, I don't know. I'm sure it's somewhere stated in some type of contractual obligation or agreement that we want to beat our rivals. We want to beat our rivals, right? I saw 247 post an article, which I hope it doesn't jinx us, because it kind of jinxed us against North Carolina, where it said that Mario Cristobal does very well in rivalry games. Now, obviously, of course, they posted another article stating that Mario Cristobal does very well. I think he was undefeated after bye weeks, and we saw what happened with that. So hopefully this particular game, he can bring some of the Oregon good luck over here, and we can actually win this particular rivalry game. Because again, at the end of the day, it's a rivalry game. You wanna beat your rivals. Mario Cristobal played in this rivalry at his absolute height. He was a part of this. So I don't think that they have to do much to get the guys up ready to play this game. But having a guy leading us on the field who played in this game, that knows what it is like to play this game at the highest level, a win in his first year back would just be the icing on a cake. Now, the cake might not taste that good, but hey, put some good icing on it, right? Lastly, gets us one more win to bowl eligibility, man. One of the things that I remember we talked about during the Golden era was, obviously, we had some situations where we were not allowed to participate in bowl games. And Al Golden, made it a point of his to continue to reiterate how important and how vital those particular bowl practices were, not just for the starters that are going to return, but also the younger guys who are going to be asked to step up and replace guys that are leaving. So obviously 6 wins is bowl eligibility. If we go 6-6, obviously not the season that we all predicted, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's a situation where we are able to win this game, maybe lose to Clemson, win out, then win a bowl game, 8-5 it's not that bad. It's kind of what Vegas had us at. Vegas had us to over and under 8.5 wins or 8 wins. So we kind of hit the nail on the head. So that's important. We have a lot of young guys that we want to see play. obviously, and as obviously, honestly, as the season progresses, some guys who we may have not seen play could potentially get to play, because obviously the red shirt rule is you can retain your red shirt and play in 4 games. So maybe, depending if we do get bowl eligible, we could see a situation, or maybe a scenario where, depending on the matchup and depending on how we finish the year out, we could see some guys who haven't played yet or have played limited reps but haven't reached that particular 4-game threshold could step into the game. But those are just 4 reasons why I think this game is, I'm not going to say must win, but 4 reasons why I think a win Saturday can help move this program forward. And we're not going to forget about what has happened, right? We're going to we're going to remember it, think about it, but there's no need to fester on it. We can just move forward. So hopefully moving forward with that includes a win over Florida State this weekend in the most talented college football rivalry of all time. And as always, it's all about the you. Like, share, subscribe.